Okay, we are back in my Canva dashboard, and in this video I will be showing you how to create a document using Canva and Google Docs. Your basic dashboard on the left side menu is under all your designs. And in order to create, I'm going to create a weekly checklist, a weekly task list specifically. So I'm going to start by creating a header for the task list. And to do that, I'm going to click on Use Custom Dimensions here on the top right. Now you could easily click More, and Canva again would show you all of the pre-formatted sizes that exist. And a good one to use for a header would be the Facebook cover there. But I already know that I want an image a little bit larger than that one. So I'm going to use the dimensions 1000 by 300. Click Design. And there it is. And here you have frames that you can use, and this means that you can click that frame and then insert images, separate images in each of these sections. I am not going to use a frame today, and I think I'm going to use a background image for our weekly task list. Find one here that will be relevant to that topic. This is going to look a little bit feminine, but I'll go ahead and use it. Going to enlarge my image so that it takes up the entire block. And because it's a header image and it's going to be in the background of my text, I'm going to increase the transparency and decrease the color in the image to about 50%. Okay, then I'm going to go over to Elements on the left and add a background area for my text. And resize that. It has an automatic color when it pops up. Mine is the first brand color, and I want it to be white. And again, the code for that is 6Fs. I'm going to resize it before I label it with my title, which is going to be Weekly Task List. Ensure it's centered by moving it around and seeing the vertical and horizontal line meeting in the middle. And then I'm moving over to the text area to insert text. There we go. Type in weekly task list. And I'm going to extend the text box all the way to the edge. Again, this is to ensure that the text is centered. I'll be changing the text to one that I use often, and that's Dancing Script Bold, and I typically space it at 50. I want it to be a little bit larger, so I'm going to go to 56. Okay, it's a very simple header for the document that we're creating. I'm going to go ahead and download it. And then we're going to head over to Google Docs, where I'm going to create a new document here. There's our download. It's coming up. And our new document. Okay, now in order to insert the image as a header, and this is true in any document that you want to create, you want to do that, you want to double click at the very top of the page, and that pops up the header section. And if you want the header to show on every page, if it's going to be a document that's more than one page, then you would leave this box here blank. However, if you only want the header to be on your first page, then you would click before you inserted the image, which I'm doing because I only want the header on the first page. And this is intended to be one page, but I have created other documents where the header is only on the first page and then the rest of the pages are solely text. We'd go over here to insert image, upload from computer. That one is in my downloads folder. There we go. I'm going to click wrap text and make sure the margin is at 0. This allows me to expand the image to the edges. And it's a large enough image that the pixels stay intact, meaning it doesn't distort it as I move it around. Now, once you insert it into Google Docs, you can resize it to how you'd like it to look. Okay, now you see the cursor here, and we're still in the header section. And I'd like to add a decorative line here to separate the header from the text area of the image. I'm going to go over to Insert, Drawing, and choose the rectangle shape, which I think you guys are familiar with by now. I'm going to draw out a thin-ish line. And I don't remember the color that I use, or I don't remember the code of the color that I'd like to use. I'm going to go to my brand. I can also do that by going here, your brand. This is the color that I'd like to use, and when I hover over it, typically it gives me the code. I'm not saying that right now, so I simply left click, and there it is. I'm going to copy and paste that into my Google Docs shape. And this is the fill area. And I'm going to go to custom and paste the code. And ensure that that is a transparent border. Save and close. Once again, I'm going to make sure the text is wrapped. Click 0 margin, and it will let me extend it to the edges. Now, as I did that, this sometimes happens that the line gets resized. And so I can simply use these points, or if you would like to go back in here, you can also change the thickness of the line by choosing the line weight. See, be about 2. Set it to transparent and save. There we go. So we have our header image with a decorative line. And I'm going to create a 2-column document, a checklist for, let's say, client tasks and admin tasks. In order to do that, go over to Format, go down to Columns, and choose 2. I'm going to create a small header for each side of the task list for clients and admin. I'm going to head back over to Canva and go to all your designs. And again, I'm going to use custom dimensions. I'm going to choose 400 by 125 to create a small image. And then I'm going to go to Elements. Now, I'm going through how to create this document, but also you can see all of the options that you have. You can choose grids, you can choose icons. I want to have a frame around this image. In order to find frames, you can also search the term frames, and a variety will come up, some with images and some without. See, I'll click illustrations. There we go. And you'll see the different frames that you can choose. I know that I want to use a frame that's found here in Elements. And so I'm going to scroll to find that one. Perhaps I passed it. Here it is. Okay. And I'm going to use the same color that matches the decorative line and extend that frame all the way out. This is very similar to the large header that I just created, where I'm doing the frame and then I'm inserting the term with text. This one will say clients in all caps. So an easy way to do all caps is to click up here without having to use your keyboard. I'm going to change it to one of my fonts that I use, and I'm going to space it out to about 100. Ensure that it's centered. And there we have our clients category for the weekly checklist or task list, excuse me. And again, I'm going to download that, move over to our document, and insert the image. Here it comes. And it's a little bit too big, so I'm going to get a little bit smaller. Okay. And also I'm going to ensure that it's centered within my column by clicking the center here. And then to add my checklist, I'm going to move that because that text is centered. I'm going to move it to the left. And over in the bullet area in Google Docs, the checklist bullet points are over here. Before I do that, I'm actually going to change the font size to about 14. And that will resize the checkboxes. There's a checkbox, and then I'm going to insert a line. Now, rather than insert a line, if you're very familiar with the types of tasks that you do on a weekly basis, then you can simply type them out. Rather than having blank spaces, you could have your tasks listed for you already as you create the form. I'm showing you how to continue creating the boxes. And after you create them on one side, if you like the spacing, fantastic. If not, you can change the spacing up here in the line spacing area and make it 1.5 or double. I think double looks a little bit too much, so 1.5. Then I'm going to move over to this side of the column. It allows me to do that. May have to go all the way down to get up there. There we go. And I'm going to go back to Canva and simply change the text to admin and repeat. So I'm going to download that image, go over to my document in Google Docs, insert the image from the computer in my downloads folder, and there it is. Go ahead and resize to a similar size so that the alignment is matching. And this is just eyeballing. There's this particular platform, Google Docs, does not give you the dimensions of the image when it's in here. At least I haven't gone searching to find that. In Canva, it does give you the dimensions so that you can easily match sizes. That looks pretty good to me. So we can finish our line by also using edit and copy in the browser, edit and copy. And pasting. Okay, so as I did that, it shifted the alignment a bit, and simply move it over. Using the ruler at the top, and continue all the way down. Because I inserted the image already, this column is going to shift this one. So what we can do is erase that until we're finished over here. Okay, so now I'm going to change the alignment. Let me move a few things. You guys don't see this, but I have a menu on my screen for the recording that I'm doing. So I just need to move that around a little bit so that I can access this section of the document. And I'm going to fix the alignment. Perfect. And we'll go back here. Erase these. Go ahead and insert our image once again. For the admin side, resize it. Ensure that it's centered. And should be able to simply copy this section and paste it on this side, and let's see how that goes. All right, great. And so this is our weekly task list for client tasks and admin tasks. And of course you can add the footer that you prefer. For me, I would add for you guys the website for Refresh Therapist Network, which I do with extra spacing between each letter. I also ensure that that is in Cameron, and I can go ahead and center it because it's a one-page document. Typically, I might right align it with a page number when it's more than one document. And to separate the footer from the rest of the document, I will add a simple horizontal line and move it further down on the page. Okay, so I've ensured that the alignment is the way that I'd like it. And then once everything looks good, in order to save it as a PDF so that you can print it out or share it as a download, you would simply go to File, Download, choose your option, which here would be PDF, and then you can upload it to your website or wherever you'd like to share the document. Now, as an alternative for you to see the types of documents that I create, I just did this one to show you how to use Canva for graphics. But the typical cheat sheet that I use on the library web, the library for RTN as well as the library for Family Therapy Basics, is a very simple format. And here's an example of one of those cheat sheets. I simply add 2 lines to the header, which is the same. I do this in the same way that I showed you in these videos. Typically a thicker one on top and a thinner one. The title is in the center of those lines, and that's it. Then I move on to the content. And as you can see, there's no header on the second page. So this is a really easy format. In order to create it again, once you've done the hard work, you can simply go to File in Google Docs and say, make a copy, and it will make a copy for you. And it'll be the same, and then in the new one, you can change the title, change the colors, and there it is. So with a lot of these things, once you put in the work up front, then you can save them as templates and continue to use them in a new way. Okay, so in this masterclass, I've covered forms, how to come up with ideas for forms. In summary, of course, I didn't give you a warning. So in summary of the masterclass, we've covered common forms, how to use them, how to come up with ideas for forms, and then as well as how to use Canva and Google Docs to create forms that will help you simplify your work as well as aid clients as you work with them. I hope that this was useful, and I look forward to hearing how you are creating forms and going from blank to beautiful.